Broadcasting live from the EBSN online studios in Columbus, Ohio. It's The Rivalry, the tale of two schools, with former NFL scout and son of legendary Michigan head coach, Bo Schembechler, bringing you both sides of the greatest rivalry in all of sports. Here's your host, Shemmy Schembechler.
Everybody, Shemmy Schembechler here, the Rivalry Classic Football Show once again this Friday evening. Shortly, we're going to be joined by our dear friend of the Rivalry, Jay Richardson, former defensive lineman at Ohio State and accomplished NFL player. He'll be here shortly. He's battling traffic right now. But I think that gives me a perfect opportunity tonight as our family's been hit with some serious adversity here this past week and change. And I want to shout out to my dear brother-in-law, Mike Racy, who is my wife's brother. Michael was just diagnosed with leukemia just this past week. And I can tell you, when it hits a family as hard as ours, because we are very close-knit, mind you, that we want to surround Mike and his family and Nicole and Colin and Connor and love them as much as we can. And we have set up, and there's some financial need that is needed by this great family. And Michael, I want all these Buckeye fanatics out there to understand that Michael, he's about as devout a Buckeye as you're going to find. And the fact that he is at the James as we speak. Hello, Michael. We love you, buddy. And we want to make sure that everybody understands that there is going to be actually, it's already up. There's a GoFundMe page. Go to GoFundMe and make a small donation. It doesn't matter what it is, to Team Racy. And it's a very well-endowed opportunity, and we want to support our family as much as we can. And the great Michael Racy, who has been a very dear friend of mine, a dear brother-in-law. I couldn't ask for a better brother-in-law. And just a wonderful, wonderful family. And so when they face with this kind of adversity, they need your support. And so go ahead and donate whatever you can. Even if you're a Michigan guy, you can donate because I told you to, all right? So without further ado, and we'll be sure to post that GoFundMe page on the Rivalry Facebook page and other places. Here's our man, Jay. Come on, Jay. We need you, buddy. We can't have this show without you, Jay.
Oh, man, you wore that shirt, didn't you?
Well, yeah, I'm going to wear this shirt. I'm going to wear this shirt.
I didn't think you'd wear the shirt.
Well, put your stuff on, Jay.
The great state of Ohio.
Hey.
I
wear the shirt every single show, Jay.
Oh,
I wear it every single.
I think that's true.
I wear every single show. Apparently, you have been watching the show enough, and that's okay, Jay. That's okay, Jay.
Seeing it in person is always more difficult.
Well, nonetheless, whether I'm wearing a Michigan shirt or not, it's an honor to have you.
Thank you. It's an honor to be here.
And what a great guy. You're actually a lot more pleasant than Worthington is. All right. So
I'll take that.
It's a really good thing.
He's a very pleasant man, isn't he?
He has to really pick his spots, Jay.
Right? Nah, I love Doug.
Yeah. Well, we all love Doug, but you know what? You always hurt the ones you love, don't you?
Ain't that the truth? It always works out like that.
So anyway, we are excited. We've got a great show coming on tonight. We're going to have
a lot to talk about, huh?
There's a lot to talk about. Well, I'm looking forward to having this whole thing wrapped up because I really want to focus on football.
I think we all do. I think this has been a distraction for a few weeks now, and it's going to continue to be. But hopefully after Sunday, I think Monday morning we should have an idea of what's going to be going on.
Yep. It's always ironic that whenever we come on the show, there's always breaking news.
Right.
And so we're gonna talk about that later in the show. We'll have Don Thomas Skype in. But for now, we got one of my dad's all-time favorite guys on the air. Yep. And most people don't remember the great Billy Taylor, but I do because Billy, Dr. Billy Taylor, mind you, was an All-American running back for my dad, hails from the same hometown as my dad. And so we just love BT, the great Dr. Taylor. How you doing, BT? Thank you for joining the show.
Hey, Shemmy, I'm good, man. Go Blue.
Go Blue, baby. Well, it's kind of funny as we're getting ready for this season because we're going to get Boren on this show because Boren, obviously, he's got a lot of ties into this rivalry based on his family lineage. So we'll get him in there. And so now we've had a bunch of Michigan guys as of late, so that's fine with me. But BT, we're within 2 weeks of the regular season here, and I want to make mention because BT he's led an unbelievable life, and I want people to check out his website. What's your website again, BT? We want people to check it out.
It's BT getbackup.com.
Yeah,
just like it sounds.
Yeah,
my initials for Bill Taylor. GETBACKUP.com. BTGetBackUp.com.
We actually have it posted right on the show here, BT. So I asked a dumb question, but that's okay. But speaking of you, Dr. Taylor, I mean, there isn't a greater story of redemption than Billy Taylor, of any of the guys that came out of Michigan football that played for Bo. And the type of life that you've led, and what you're doing is you're providing opportunities for guys to get off the streets, to get off chemical dependence, and to lead a great life. And so you are, quite frankly, the best example these guys could have with your facilities up there in Metro Detroit. And kind of talk to us about what you've been able to accomplish with your great organization up there.
Well, it's all about giving back and changing lives. I haven't always been Dr. Taylor. After a great Michigan career, a lot of personal tragedies in my family, and I turned to alcohol and other drugs, suffered great depression, got in trouble, was incarcerated. I went through all of those highs and lows after a Michigan career, but my life has tremendously changed. In fact, is today the 17th or was yesterday the 17th?
Today is the 17th, BT. Yes, sir.
Huh?
Today is the 17th. Yes, sir.
Okay. This is 21 years. It's my anniversary date.
Wow.
And I forget about it, but certain friends call and congratulate me. 21 years without a drink, drug, or a cigarette.
Yep. That's just phenomenal.
August 17th.
Yep. Well, BT
is the day. But, that's what I do in Detroit. I started Get Back Up Incorporated in 2007. And a year and a half ago, moved from the west side on Dexter to the east side of Detroit on McDougal. And it's called Get Back Up East. And I had to renovate a convent I bought from the Archdiocese of Detroit. And it's taken a year and a half to get it all the way up to code and pass all of our inspections. And we now are officially open and shall start receiving residents any day. But this is what I'm doing. I like to say I have 2 doctorate degrees, one in educational leadership, and the other, Chimmy, is a DOS. That's what I call a doctor of the streets, because
no doubt.
I went through the addiction and living on the streets and incarcerations. And so I know both sides of the fence, you know what I'm saying?
Yep.
So, but that the knowledge, the experience that I gained, not just playing for your dad and not just in the classroom, but living on the streets of Detroit. I put all of that together, and this enables me to be a big help to a lot of men. It's an all-male facility that's suffering from drug and alcohol addiction.
Right, no doubt about it. Well, let me introduce you to Jay Richardson, great Ohio State defensive lineman, one of the best guys to ever play for Jim Tressel. He's got a question for you about what you're doing.
Dr. Taylor, how you doing?
I'm good. I'm hanging in there. How are you?
Fantastic. Look, I appreciate you sharing your story and all you're doing in your community and your message.
I'm not hearing you guys very clearly.
Can you hear me
now? Could you repeat that, please?
I said I appreciate all you're doing in your community, and I appreciate you sharing your story. I have a foundation here in Columbus, Ohio, and when we've worked with a lot of young kids, and we always have speakers come in, guys who have a diverse background and have either a success story or a story about what they've gone through to get to where they are. I had a quick question for you. What do you think the catalyst was for your change? What led to you turning everything around?
A number of things, but if I have to pick one, it would be my faith and trust in God. And a lot of people say when you say Dr. Taylor, they automatically think I'm a preacher or a minister.
Yeah.
I'm not. I have strong faith and trust in God. I was brought up that way, and I lost that because of a lot of tragedies. My senior year at Michigan, January 4th, lost my mom suddenly after the Rose Bowl, heart attack. Then in June, my uncle, my mom's brother, shot and killed my aunt, killed himself. Then in September, the girl I was dating was brutally stabbed to death. So at 21 years old, I just lost my faith and trust in my high power, and I was like literally lost. The closest people in my life were suddenly taken away like in 9 months. And I was thrown off track, but I had a spiritual foundation. So I give that foundation that was implanted in me early on through my mom and my grandmother and my aunts. I grew up around a lot of praying women, and I was brought up the right way. We didn't have much. We were you can say poor financially, but we were rich spiritually. And as a young man, behind all those losses, I went into this state of depression, and I drank. It made me feel better, and I cried less. It eased the pain, but that's a trap. Everybody's life is a story, but people get caught up into addiction either by partying, and they, makes them feel euphoric, and they out have a good time, or it could be behind some tragedy, but before you know it, you're addicted, and it becomes a problem, But I fell so low to where I was homeless on the streets of Detroit for 2 years, and I was suffering from depression. I should have been on medication, but I isolated myself, and I self-medicated with alcohol and other drugs. But I prayed all the time. I didn't think God was listening to me because things didn't change for years. But finally, one day, I heard a voice, and that was August 17th of 1997.
Wow.
So this August 17th is 21 years since I've had a drink, drug, or cigarette. But I just give credit to God for my recovery.
So that's a blessing. I just wanted to say I'm inspired by that. I've dealt with a lot of depression in my family and, with siblings and relatives. So I can only imagine having all of that, trauma heaped on top of you at age 21. That's a lot for anyone to handle. That's probably too much for anyone to bear. So it's just
correct.
It's very, very cool to see you bounce back, and it's amazing and inspiring to see all the things you're doing right now.
Yep. It really is amazing, well, BT. Go ahead, sir.
No, I was just going to say I thank you for saying that, and I'm just blessed, and I know it, and I boast in God, not me. Once again, I'm a teacher, not a preacher, but my faith and trust that was instilled in God, that was instilled in me when I was a child, gave me a foundation. And I was shaken off of that foundation behind all of the tragedies. I just couldn't handle it. And I turned to alcohol and other substances, and it almost killed me, but apparently God had a plan for me. I came close to losing my life several times on the streets, but I'm here, I'm healthy, and I might be just a little bit crazy, but, so is the world, but I'm just blessed and happy to be alive, and, everything works, so to speak. I always say I'm 39 and holding, but I probably have a jacket or two that old.
And yet you've held on to those jackets, BT.
Huh?
You've held on to those jackets for a very long period of time because you always remember where you came from,
Yeah, I'm kind of losing you, Shimmy.
Yep. Sorry, BT. So
okay.
Can you hear me now? How's that?
Yes, sir. I hear you clear.
So I think, the fact that you started your collegiate career playing at Michigan, you came to Michigan before Bo came there, and then when Bo come on board, it really, in many ways, position your career and a relationship that truly lasts until this day. And so I remember Bo's been gone for well over a decade now, and how much of an impact that had on all of us. And I know it hit you really hard. Kind of talk to us about that day and what it was like losing the old coach.
Well, your dad was like a dad to me, more than a coach. And I tell people often, I think I've told you before, I didn't like your dad at first,
Well, that's why you came to. That's why you didn't. Hard. That's why you didn't go to Miami and you went to Michigan.
I went. He's down in Miami. He thought I was going to come down there and play for him. We both were Barberton High School graduates, but I got down there and I had the worst recruiting weekend in my life. The way he pushed us, and so I ran away from your dad. And but God has a master plan.
Yes, He does.
And I came to Michigan and to play for Bump Elliott, I thought, at the University of Michigan, and after my freshman year, I went home for a Christmas break, Barberton, Ohio, and I picked up the paper, Akron Beacon Journal. It was Christmas Eve of '68, and in the front page it had Bo Schembechler, your dad, named head coach, University of Michigan. And Shemmy, I had to sit down before I fell down.
Yes, you did.
I couldn't believe it, But once again, who knows life's itinerary, and that's why I believe there's a plan for all of us, and it turned out to be one of the greatest events in my life. Going to Michigan, having your father as my coach, learned a lot of valuable lessons from him. The value of hard work and perseverance, and trying to do the right thing. Your dad wasn't perfect. No one is perfect.
Nobody's perfect.
But what a good, solid man that instills some great foundations in all of us, not just me, but you talk to pretty much anybody that played under Bo will share the same thing. Tough as nails, but once you showed him you're willing to work hard and give your best, then you got a friend for life, and he made us men. He made us champions. He told us those who stay, he knew it was grueling, his practices, but he said those who stay will be champions.
Yep.
And we stayed, and my 3 varsity years, won 2 Big Ten championships. We were undefeated. My senior year, we beat everybody.
Yep.
Shemmy, during my 3 varsity years at Michigan, my sophomore, junior, senior year, we lost 3 games. We lost to Missouri and Michigan State my sophomore year, and those 2. Then my junior year, we lost 1 game to Ohio State.
Mm-hmm.
And then my senior year, we were undefeated. We beat everybody on the schedule.
Yep.
So that's
BT. You have to remind
legacy,
Jay. BT, you have to remind Jay what we did to the Buckeyes in '69. Okay.
Say that again.
You have to remind Jay what we did to the Buckeyes in '69.
Yeah, we whooped that butt, man. It wasn't. They were number 1 in the country. And papers, one local paper, I forget which one, said Michigan has 2 chances of winning, slim and none, and another paper came out that said we should just forfeit the game. The Buckeyes were too formidable to play, save ourselves the embarrassment, just forfeit the game. Well, your dad had a different idea. The coaching staff at Michigan had a different idea. And we as players had the same idea as they did, that we can beat anybody and that we're going to play this game and we're going to see what happens. And they were number 1 in the country for 2 straight years and undefeated for 2 straight years. But we beat them that day. We outplayed them. We outhit them. And 24-12 at halftime when the final whistle blew, 24-12. In fact, at halftime, one of our defensive coaches said they will not score in the second half.
Yep.
And we shut down the number one team in the country. So that turned the Michigan program around. And, you know, Shemmy,
and BT,
now
you have
1969 game.
Hey, BT, you have to excuse
sir.
Jay. He wasn't alive back then, so we have to be somewhat sensitive, okay?
A young buck, but anyway, he's learning some history.
Well, listen, I'm happy to learn some history from you guys, especially you, Dr. Taylor. But I got to say, it's nice that someone has a memory of beating the Buckeyes, because there are no current people out there with any memories of beating Ohio State as of late.
Well,
hasn't been much of a rivalry the last 2 decades.
I do, because I was 4 months old when that game was being played, and I'm reminded of that game every single day as we face adversity down here in Columbus over the last 2 decades. So I have to go back to those days, BT. Hey,
but during that game, Michigan had over 100,000 people in the stadium, and that was the first time in Michigan history. It was the largest crowd ever assembled at that time to watch a collegiate game.
Wow.
And the impact is Michigan has had over 100,000 in attendance for every home game since November of '69.
Right.
That's how big that game was.
Oh, yeah.
And that's what it meant to Michigan.
Right, no doubt. Billy, we want to take some time. We want to go to a quick commercial. We want to come back and get your perspective on what we have to look forward to with the Michigan-Ohio State game this coming year. Okay, BT?
Okay.
All right, let's take a quick break. The Rivalry Classic Football Show. Go Blue. Go Bucks.
Go Bucks.
If you're a Michigan Wolverine fan, you know there is only one place to go to get all the latest and greatest Michigan and blue gear from Nike and Jordan brand. That place is, of course, the M-Den, the official merchandise retailer of Michigan Athletics. Make the M-Den your one-stop shop for all your University of Michigan apparel needs. Visit the M-Den today online at www.mden.com. Go Blue.
This is Doug Worthington, former Ohio State captain, and I'm at The College Traditions, where they have the official Nike apparel that the college players and the coaches wear on the sideline. College Tradition has the flags, they have the decals for the cars, they have everything to show your Buckeye pride. Come down, Buckeye Nation. College Tradition has a range for your feline friends and your canine pups that you can come and get them laced up in some of the best Buckeye gear. Being 6'6", 305 pounds, it is hard to find gear in my size. College Traditions has up to 5X in some of your best Buckeye gear. Come get you a lid, curve up that dome with the best hat selection in Columbus, Ohio. College Tradition, all the great apparel, all the great gear, and things for your man cave. Come down, check us out.
At Power Bar, we know you get what you put in. You get the energy and the excitement, the encouragement and the escape, the friendship and the loyalty. You get everything you need and nothing you don't. That's why Power Bar is back with remixed recipes and all new products to help you power on and savor every moment. Welcome to the new us.
Hi, my name is Crystal, and I'm a private client advisor with one of the leading insurance intermediaries for highly successful individuals. Because of our size, we have powerful partnerships with the industry's premier carriers. I specialize in leveraging these relationships to find my clients the most efficient and effective insurance solutions at the best prices. Don't miss out on this opportunity. A consultation with me is at no cost to you. Whether it be for your business or your personal insurance needs, you earned it, and let me help you protect it.
All right, welcome back to Rivalry with the great Jay Richardson and Schembechler here. BT, you still there, buddy?
Yeah, Shimmy, I'm here, man.
BT,
Blue.
Now it's interesting because I hear about obviously the investigation, but I'm paying close attention to these Ohio State Buckeyes, and I want to know what we're going to have up in Ann Arbor that's going to come down here and beat the Buckeyes in November. So tell us about what your perspective on the Michigan team is.
Well, this Michigan team, this is Coach Harbaugh's 4th year, and this is going to be his best team yet.
Agreed.
It's taken a while for him to put his, program in place and get the right personnel together. And I think we've been getting by mostly with great coaching. We've had some good players, but, you need a certain caliber of players in skill positions offensively and defensively to win championships. And in short, this year.
So what do you think of the strength of this team's going to be from top to bottom, BT?
Well, our offense and defensive line play is critical. Defense win championships, and we're in great shape there. And offensively, one of the missing links has been our quarterback play. That's been a weak area for us.
Yes.
And the guys have given what they had to give, but it hasn't been good enough to beat primarily our arch rivals. We want to beat everybody, but we got to stop the bleed, when it comes to the Spartans and the Buckeyes. And this year, I expect that to happen with this Shea Patterson kid at quarterback.
Yep.
And we got some other key personnel in running back position. Some veterans returning, and they're bigger and they're better.
He's from Mississippi, right?
I think we're going to definitely be in the running for the Big Ten championship. And, historically, Shemmy, it used to be Michigan and Ohio State playing for that Big Ten championship.
Yep.
But now that thing's spread all around the Big Ten, and we've added about 4 more teams. It's no longer really the Big Ten. It's like the Big 14 or 15.
Exactly.
But, I think this team is going to do really, really good this year.
I agree, and I think the Notre Dame game is really going to be a key indicator going on the road in prime time in that Week 1 on Saturday night, September 1st. And I think that's a really good thing for the Michigan team, especially considering how horribly we played in that bowl game last January. And so it left a bad taste.
Bad.
Yeah, and I agree. And it left a really bad taste in our mouths, to say the least. And I think
exactly.
And I kind of equate it to how the 97 team prepared, because we did not have a good year in 96. And you get to the point as a player and as a team is that you get tired of this. And you get tired of hearing the naysayers, and you get tired of having to face the certain adversity that we had, whether it's the offensive line or the quarterback. I think this team's truly on a mission this year. And to say that the Big Ten is a great conference, make no mistake, but I think the league championship is going to run through Columbus and Ann Arbor, to say the least.
I do too. That's how it's supposed to be.
Yeah.
That's historically what it has been for years and years, for decades, until this past decade, and I think we're back on track.
That's
and like
decades.
You say, the opener against Notre Dame is gonna tell a lot about our season. The guys should go down there sky high and play a hell of a football game, and I think we're going to beat them.
Doc, can I ask you a question here? This is Jay Richardson here, Ohio State Buckeye speaking. I gotta say, as a Buckeye, I'm always going to be pulling for my Buckeyes, but I understand when you talk about the Big Ten Conference, I understand the importance that Michigan has to the conference, and I understand the importance that this rivalry has. Tell me, what do you think, first of all, and I'm kind of getting to how hot Harbaugh's seat might be getting, but how important is it for Michigan to go out this year and finally have not just a good showing, but have a legitimate chance to beat the Buckeyes and maybe even beat Ohio State? How important is that for the Big Ten as a conference and for the rivalry, and honestly, how important is that for Harbaugh's job moving forward?
I tell you, I think it's crucial. And I think Jim knows that. We're good friends. I've known him since he was a kid. I know his dad well. He's a true blue Michigan man, and he played for Bo as well. You know, we know what this rivalry means. First of all, when Michigan take the field, we want to beat everybody we line up against. But let's make no joke about it. You know, our cross-state rivalry, the Spartans, and our interstate rivalry, the Buckeyes, those are two games that Michigan must win. We got to stop this bleeding. We're still ahead in the conference, with Michigan and the rivalry with Michigan, Ohio State, and with Michigan,
we're up by 9,
Michigan
BT.
State. We still have more victories than either of the two schools.
Oh, okay,
but you
fellas.
guys have been closing that gap. And, we got to get back on track. And this year, I think it's an absolute must that we beat you guys.
That's
and
what
that
I
we
wanted to
beat
hear.
the Spartans as well. But we want to beat everybody. But the short answer is crucial, even for Coach Harbaugh. And he knows that.
Can I give you my opinion of what I think Michigan's biggest issue has been the last 2 decades and why Ohio State has absolutely dominated them now going on 2 decades? I truly think it's because Michigan has not made a concerted effort and made it a complete focus to beat Ohio State. They always, and you just did it when you spoke about it, you always mentioned Michigan State, and we want to beat everyone in Michigan State as well. But, yeah, the rivalry's big, but we still want to beat Michigan State. You guys got to get Michigan State out of your head. If you don't beat the Buckeyes, you'll never beat Michigan again. You'll never be the Michigan we all remember.
That's true.
It's the Buckeyes.
I agree with you. We agree on that. That's why I say it's crucial. Yep. That game is everything, and we've had – a couple of coaches, I won't call names, prior to Coach Harbaugh. And I think that there's some truth to what you said. Mm-hmm. The significance of that game.
You got to put a focus on it.
Perhaps to those coaches were not as great as it ought to be.
Exactly.
But I know Coach Rodriguez, I know Coach Hoke, and they're good men. So I'm not putting them down. But I'm just saying, certainly Coach Harbaugh is aware of the rivalry, how important this game is, and Michigan.
Hey, BT, I think we should make mention of this because Jay is pointing out the comments by the great Charles Woodson, arguably the greatest player in Michigan history.
Absolutely.
Okay? And in many ways he's right, but I will say this at the same time. There was a certain game down here in Columbus in 2016 that was decided by an extremely controversial call, 2 calls.
Yeah. Agreed.
Where there was a certain J.T. Barrett who was a half yard short of a first down.
4th and 1?
4th and 1.
He converted, though, didn't he?
Well, based on the officiating that hailed from the state of Ohio.
Yes or no?
And so if what I'm saying is that game could have turned very easily in the favor of the Michigan Wolverines. If that was the case,
I agree with that.
I don't think we would be having this conversation about the lack of emphasis on Ohio State.
But once again, Shimmy, I'm true blue.
Oh yeah.
Close counts, horseshoes, and hand grenades.
Tell him. Tell him. Close don't matter.
Dealt fairly. I don't think that was a fair call down there.
Well, it was a terrible call.
Listen, Ohio State lost a couple close games in the last 5 years.
Well,
that could have sent us to the playoffs one year and won.
Right.
And so, had we not lost the Penn State game on that last second.
There's no doubt.
I mean, we probably.
There's no doubt.
So yeah.
And so I'm happy to lay all this blame at the steps of Jim Delaney. I've never been a Jim Delaney fan, the commissioner of the Big Ten Conference, and so for him to screw up the officiating crew for that game, I'm going to throw him under the bus every time because I've had a vendetta against Delaney ever since he tried to suspend my dad after the Rose Bowl game after he retired.
I don't know, but that was jacked up.
Here's how you know Michigan's really out of it. Now we're mad at referees and we're mad at officiating commissioners. That's when you know Michigan has lost its luster.
I thought I heard you say that was a screwed up call.
Listen,
it was.
I agree it was a very close game. I agree.
It's not just Wolverines.
I agree it was a close game. I agree that was finally a good showing by Michigan versus Ohio State. But make no mistake about it, the better team won, as they always do the last decade.
Some Buckeye nuts
oh, my goodness.
Let me tell you something. It's not going to be easy this year. The Buckeyes got a heck of a team.
I know. There's no doubt
we don't
about
like
that.
easy. If you see a Wolverine fighting a grizzly bear, throw some honey on the Wolverine. Help the grizzly bear.
BT, you're awesome, brother. Well, hey, we so appreciate you calling into the show, and we're going to take a quick break. BT, we want to wish you the best of luck with the Get Back Up Foundation, the Get Back Up program, providing really valuable services to men up in the state of Michigan. And we applaud you for all your diligent work and all of the stuff you're going to be doing to help the state of Michigan just get better as a whole. I mean, we're getting guys back. Go ahead.
Thank you, Shimmy. One last comment I want to make. You know, there's a film based on my life story, Perseverance, the story of Dr. Billy Taylor. I just want to let the listening audience know it's going to air again the week before we open up. That's August 25th on WADL TV.
Wonderful.
5 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. That's August 25th at 5 p.m.
Congratulations.
Perseverance.
Yep.
The story.
Hey, BT, you know what I love about that documentary and that show? The first time it was ever aired, it was actually on Bo's birthday. Do you remember that?
Yes, I do.
Yeah, I thought that was truly
and that's
special.
more than happenstance. You know what I'm saying?
I can only imagine that they knew that before they posted it, because I think that was truly, truly special. But that's a great documentary. I've always loved it.
And today, I celebrate 21 years of sobriety. More than happenstance, and here I am on your show.
Well, here we are, 21 years. We're going to go for another 21, right, BT?
Absolutely. No doubt about it.
Outstanding.
Hey, well, thanks for having me on, Shimmy.
Yep, BT, we love you, buddy.
And thanks for bringing me on with that Buckeye.
Hey, it's a pleasure meeting you, Doc.
Yep. We tolerate through the rivalry, don't we, BT?
Right. Absolutely.
All right.
Okay.
Thanks, BT.
Take care, have fun, and go blue.
All right. God bless you. All right. We're gonna take a break. We're gonna touch upon. We want to get this investigation over with. All right. But then we're going to actually talk some football, okay? Jay's been to practice down at Ohio State. He's going to have a perspective. We're going to have Don Thomas Skype in at some point, and he's going to give his perspective. And the Rivalry Classic will be right back. Go Blue.
Go Bucks.
If you're a Michigan Wolverine fan, you know there is only one place to go to get all the latest and greatest Michigan and Blue gear from Nike and Jordan brand. That place is, of course, the M-Den, the official merchandise retailer of Michigan Athletics. Make the M-Den your one-stop shop for all your University of Michigan apparel needs. Visit the M-Den today online at www.mden.com. Go Blue.
This is Doug Worthington, former Ohio State captain, and I'm at The College Traditions, where they have the official Nike apparel that the college players and the coaches wear on the sideline. College Tradition has the flags, they have the decals for the cars, they have everything to show your Buckeye pride. Come down, Buckeye Nation. College Tradition has a range for your feline friends and your canine pups that you can come and get them laced up in some of the best Buckeye gear. Being 6'6", 305 pounds, it is hard to find gear in my size. College Traditions have up to 5X in some of your best Buckeye gear. Come get you a lid, curve up that dome with the best hack selection in Columbus, Ohio. College Tradition, all the great apparel, all the great gear, and things for your man cave. Come down, check us out.
At Power Bar, we know you get what you put in. You get the energy and the excitement, the encouragement and the escape, the friendship and the loyalty. You get everything you need and nothing you don't. That's why Power Bar is back with remixed recipes and all new products to help you power on and savor every moment. Welcome to the new us.
Hi, my name is Crystal, and I'm a private client advisor with one of the leading insurance intermediaries, highly successful individuals. Because of our size, we have powerful partnerships with the industry's premier carriers. I specialize in leveraging these relationships to find my clients the most efficient and effective insurance solutions at the best prices. Don't miss out on this opportunity. A consultation with me is at no cost to you. Whether it be for your business or your personal insurance needs, you earned it, and now let me help you protect
The Rivalry Classic Show, Schembechler and Richardson. Welcome back, everybody. I want to get this investigation over with.
Okay? We all do.
So real quick, the president's office at Ohio State did a post out today to make people aware that the investigation will be done on Sunday. Subsequent report will come out shortly after that, and hopefully a decision will be had by midweek at the latest. Correct?
That's what we're hearing. We're hearing actually they'll be convening, I think, Sunday or Monday morning, one of the two, and they'll be kind of going through everything, and we'll have something early this week.
I think the idea that they're doing a report to get that done on Sunday, but the idea that the president has not been kept abreast on the investigation, I don't see why you have to wait for an entire report to come out.
Correct.
To come up with a decision. I mean, he can get the information whenever he wants. It's been a 2-week investigation. My hope is that the president has done his due diligence to keep up with that.
Yeah, I think the goal here was to keep President Drake, I guess, just
right.
You want to keep him a little bit removed, and I guess they wanted to make sure this was isolated, that just this committee was convening on this, that they were going to come to, I guess, an agreement on what they thought the best course of action was without any influence. And I think that's fine. If you want my opinion on what I think about Urban's situation, I don't know what it is you expect, and I think we as a society have to decide what we expect out of football coaches,
right?
Versus lawyers, cops, politicians. The guy's a football coach,
right?
He can't fire someone on hearsay,
right?
So until you have facts,
right,
there's not a whole lot you can do, but tell your superiors. Now a lot of people are saying, well, he lied to the media.
Right.
Well, Shem, let's be honest. I've been lying to the media my entire career in interviews. And by lying, I mean you admit you don't go to the media and tell them everything that's going on in your program. That's not the best move.
I come from the Bo and Woody school of handling the media. Yeah. Okay, is they don't need to know everything.
Correct.
They do not need to know.
That doesn't
everything.
help the program.
All right, exactly. And so Bo and Woody were very good at handling the message. Now, I understand we're in a different era of social media.
Very much so.
But it's kind of two sides, if you will. All right. The media does not need to know everything, but at the same time, when you're Michigan and Ohio State, two of the premier programs in the country, they make it very clear to the coaches and players that when you come here, you're in a glass bowl, whether you like it or not.
That's the truth.
You're in a glass bowl. So there has to be a level of accountability from that side, and whether it's Zach Smith or another assistant coach, they have to understand is that you have to behave better than everybody else. That's the standard.
Well, that's just the reality of being anyone who's deemed a public figure or a celebrity, right?
Exactly.
And if you're Ohio State campus, Michigan campus, you're a player, coach, you're on a platform, you're in the glass, the glass bowl, you're under the microscope. You got to understand that, and you have to understand that everyone's looking to find a flaw, and everyone's looking to find what's wrong. And if you ask me, I mean, just on a personal level, I think Urban's biggest mistake was bringing Zach here from Florida.
I agree.
I think he probably – I know Urban's the kind of guy that he gives second chances. He wants to see people succeed. He'll fight for a guy if he thinks the guy's a good person or a good player or trying to do the right thing. He'll give you a second chance, and sometimes it backfires on him.
Sometimes it does. And the thing is, and everybody's going to make point of this because I think it's been talked about ad nauseum, the fact that Zach is Earl's grandson. All right?
Sure.
And that's going to play a role in all this, whether you like it or not. And I just find it interesting now that we have laid Coach Bruce to rest that all this is happening now. All right? And it just
the timing
bothers the hell out of me.
The timing from when Courtney decided to come after the school and Urban, to like you said, the death of Coach Bruce, and then obviously the subsequent firing of Zach. It all is very interesting, and it kind of paints a picture, but I can't say that I can lay the whole debacle at the feet of Urban and say it's on him.
It's not.
He's not a cop. He's not a lawyer. He's not an investigator. His job is to coach young men and get them through graduating and get them to be the best players they can be on the field.
No doubt.
And until someone comes to him with proof or facts, I don't know what you expect him to do other than tell, Gene, and say, hey, this is what I'm hearing.
I just think
find out.
The idea that we just had Dr. Billy Taylor on the show, with all the things that he went through.
Sure.
I mean, he was involved in the criminal system for a very long period of time.
Yeah.
And for him to get redemption and for him to be one of the best stories in the history of Michigan football.
Absolutely.
People should remember that and just see what happens with guys like yourself and the great standards that you've set within your community. And I think people like to pile on the people that make mistakes and make really bad mistakes, but they don't talk about the great people that come out of these programs.
Absolutely.
And that bothers me.
It's very easy to pile on the negative, and it's very easy to, once that fire started, to fan it. The reality of it is there's way more good than there is negative. There's way, and it's the same in the NFL. Whenever there's an issue in the NFL, people always pile on, see, these guys are all, it's like for every Ray Rice, there's 1,000 guys, like a Michael Jenkins, who I played with at Ohio State. I mean, you got guys like that. I mean, there's tons of guys doing a lot of good out there.
No doubt.
It's very easy to pick out the one bad.
No doubt. Anyway. All right. We got our dear friend of the program, Don Thomas, Atlanta, Georgia, Michigan man.
Uh-oh.
What's up?
My man.
What's good?
We love you. We love you, Don. And so I told you today we're going to try to move on. We want to talk football, okay?
Yes.
What's up, Jay?
How you doing?
Yeah. And so
welcome.
And so I think
that is a yellow shirt, man. Oh, that is a yellow shirt.
Well,
sort of, kind of.
We're the Mason Blue. What do you expect?
Yeah, gotta represent. I just got some new Michigan swag for the season. I'm actually going down for the Notre Dame game, so I'm really excited about that.
You might want to give that one back. That's hard on the eyes.
I think it's great. All right.
I'm wearing a bright scarlet block O next time I come on this show.
That's fine. So
do it, man. We got we got to contrast each other, man. It's the rivalry for a reason.
With that shirt, you're going to contrast everything.
There's no doubt about it. So Don, obviously there's been some interesting developments up with Michigan football because we don't have any scandal up there. We're totally focused on our team and developing our team and getting. And I told Jay before the show, we're going to be one, if not the best defense in the country coming up next year.
Second best, but yeah, you guys will probably be pretty good.
No, because you guys had a lot of problems with your linebackers last year.
True, but I got news about these new ones.
Well, that's fine and well because
I got some news about these new guys.
You can improve upon last year's linebacker core, but it's going to be hard because you're going to have some new guys in there, and
boy, do they look good.
And you're waiting on Tough Borland to show up too. Right?
We're not gonna have to wait that long. Tuff's ready. He's on a limited snap count.
Is he gonna play against Oregon State?
Yeah, I think he'll play.
Okay, interesting.
But here's the cool part. If he doesn't need to. We've got some monsters.
Really?
Yes, we've got some guys who are looking really, really good.
All I know is I watched that linebacking core last year and how many times they struggle with RPOs.
Play action.
It killed him.
It killed him.
So now you're saying the whole problem's been erased going into this year.
Read the run pass was difficult.
We haven't even played a snap yet, and you're confident enough to say it's not going to be a problem.
Shem, what do you think they drilled all offseason?
Yeah.
What do you think?
It's fine. It's fine. But when you have new players, I mean, once they get under the lights and they get into a game, it's going to be a different story. Now you can practice.
They come in with a clean slate. They're young. They don't know the mistakes from last year, right? It's brand new.
It's part of being young. You're going to make mistakes.
And all they've been drilling all spring, all summer is play action, RPOs, read, run, pass.
So now we're on the subject. Let's talk about the linebackers and how special they're going to be and what's going to make Ohio State the best defense in the country. Go.
Okay, so listen. It's very easy for me to lead off with our strength of our defense, which is
defensive
line. We all know they're going to be. I mean, they're going to be the Midwest monsters. Get ready, for Chase. Get ready for Nick. Get ready, for my man in the middle. Both of them in the middle are going to be monsters. Then we got Landers coming in.
How about that freshman from Idaho? Is he going to play?
Yes, he's actually going to get some snap time, and they like him right now.
Right.
But we got some guys at linebacker. We got Pete Warner, and then we got Malik Harrison. These two guys right now, from what I'm hearing, are primed to be the next great linebacker tandem.
We don't care what you hear. We care what you see.
Okay, so from what I've seen at practice is a couple very explosive athletes.
Right.
They're playing with great discipline, but I'm seeing speed. I don't know.
Right.
And the best defenses I've played on in my life were the fastest defenses I played on in my life. Right. So my senior year, when we had, me and Vernon Golston, and we had Malcolm Jenkins at corner.
Oh, yeah.
And, we had Ashton Yabuti, and we had all these different guys, linebackers. We had, obviously, big-time middle linebacker.
Right.
And I don't know why I can't think of my good buddy's name right now. His dad was in the WWE.
We have to do our homework before the season starts, Jay. It's time to get going,
Laurinaitis, okay? First round draft pick. Okay, so we had speed, we had smarts, and we had guys who were skilled.
Right.
But it all started up front with our defensive line.
No doubt.
This defense so far is built to last. We got monsters up front.
So tell me, who are the 2 starting 3 techniques, defensive tackles, that are going to make a big difference?
So Draymond Jones,
him,
is obviously he's not just primed for a breakout year. If he has the year that I'm predicting he's going to have, I don't know that he'll be here another year. I thought
he was going to come out last year, quite frankly.
He could have.
Because he was redshirt. He could have come out after last year.
Correct.
Yeah.
Hey, this year will be his last year. He's just that good. And then we're going to have Flanders coming in.
Right.
And I think Rob is a guy that he's not a sexy, fast twitch. He doesn't look, when you see him, you don't go, he just looks like a good, solid football player, not massive.
So
he just can play the game, always in the right place at the right time.
So here's what I'm going to say to that, because he doesn't sound like he's an overly talented guy. He's a solid guy, good 3 technique.
He's an exceptional football player.
All right, but here's the thing: what happens when we get into November? Cesar Ruiz is going to be the best center in the Big Ten. And so we're going to come after him, and that's going to be a matchup that we're going to pay close attention to, because Michigan, under the coaching of Ed Warner, we're going to run inside zone now. So it's going to be a matter of how does the 3 technique and the Mike and the Will, how are they going to line up and stop the run? Because this Michigan offensive line is going to be decidedly improved over last year. Last year was one of the weakest points of our team.
We expect that. We expect Michigan's O-line to be big, strong. They always are.
That's what the rivalry is all about. Well, we weren't very good last year.
From the years of Jake Long and all those big boys they had to now. They always generally have a good offensive line, but I'm expecting you guys to be way more improved this year. Would that be accurate? So when you talk about the middle of the defense, right? You got Tough Borland and you got our safeties, Jordan, back there. You're talking about 2 guys who, one, are tough as nails, and that's not a play on words because of Tough's name. He'll be back. Yes, he's tough. He's taken that double team off of our nose and our 3 technique, or however they decide to slide it.
I think Draymond's going to have to take a lot more double teams than the other guy is.
I think if teams are smart, they will double team him a lot more because he's somebody you don't want to leave one-on-one. Not in run or pass situation. He's too talented.
Because we're happy to put Bredesen one-on-one because he'll take out most guys. I mean, he's all 6'4", 320 pounds.
Sure.
And he's not fat.
But Draymond's seen that before. That's nothing new.
I know, but he's on the other side.
We're
talking about Nwenyu, because the way Draymond lines up, he's normally on the left side.
Correct.
All right. See, the NFL scouts been paying attention, ladies and
gentlemen. You've been watching close.
I've been watching close.
And that's how we got to flip it when that game comes.
Yeah, I mean, Don, and I've been talking about, and the Michigan defense, I mean, they're fast too. They got great speed on that, particularly the linebacking core. They got a bunch of guys who are going to run 4.5s flat. In some cases less.
And you guys have those cool Jordan brand cleats, which I love. I gotta admit, very cool.
Is 6'5".
You're coming along, Jay.
That's one thing I'll give Michigan. You guys do have cool Jordan brand cleats. I'll give you guys that. I gotta give you that.
All right, good. All right.
He's Doug Worthington size and runs a 4.5.
Right.
As Rashawn Gary. That's ridiculous.
Right.
Is that legit? Because I have seen he is a massive kid and he is athletic. Is he that fast?
Yeah, he's fast.
He's a 4.5.
Yeah.
Is he?
Yeah.
That's impressive.
And he's up to 285 this year. So,
really?
Yes, he is.
Yeah, my best 40
he's be a stud.
At 278 was
and he'll be a
4.6.
Junior.
So yeah,
he's he'll be just like Draymond. I mean, he'll come out after this year. I'm fairly certain about that.
Well, I've been hearing about him for a little while.
He'll be a top 5 pick.
Yeah, absolutely. I agree with that.
Yep. All right, what else, Don?
But what do you have around him?
We got plenty of talent.
I mean, what's gonna stop this passing attack from Ohio State?
The number 1 secondary in the country.
The backfield.
We got 2 corners who are going to be 1st and 2nd round picks when they come out.
Then why didn't they show up last year?
Huh?
Then why didn't they show up last year?
They did show up until your quarterback got hurt.
and then what happened?
Huh?
You guys saw the quarterback you're going to see this year.
They went after Long. That was the problem.
And then Haskins came in and gave you a sneak preview of what you got to deal with all 2018.
We're gonna be ready for Haskins. All right, go, Don.
We will. I mean, because it's a different game plan. You don't expect JT. We weren't prepared for that. It was
Right.
We were caught off guard by what Dwayne Haskins did. I was there last year. That was a great throw he made to Austin Mack.
Right.
Yes, it was.
And watched him. He literally threaded the needle because we had great coverage. We had him bracketed. You know, we had a safety over top. We had Watson right on his hip pocket. Just made a great throw. Mm-hmm. So I mean, he's a great player. I think we'll be ready for him this year. I mean, you have Levert. I mean, there's not a better set of corners in the country between Levert, Hill, and David Long. Tyree Kinnell has a lot to prove this year as a safety. Josh Metellus, he's got to do a better job of creating turnovers for us. Right. But he's a hard-hitting, strong safety back in the backfield.
Yep.
And Khaleke Hudson will wreak havoc. I mean, honestly, it's really hard for me to say, but I actually watched some more film of last year on this past weekend. Khaleke Hudson played a lot like Jabril Peppers out of that position.
Like an all-purpose DB linebacker kind of?
Yes, he was amazing. I was at the game against Minnesota, and he was everywhere. And I think he's going to be better this year.
You said that was against Minnesota?
Huh?
You said that was against Minnesota? He was everywhere?
It's just a game that I was at. It's an example when he was.
Well, you're right, Don, because he had 18 tackles in that game.
Yeah, exactly. It's a phenomenal. Yeah. He was everywhere, and I remember. I was had a great team that game.
And 4 sacks too. Minnesota wasn't ready.
Oh, no, they weren't.
They had a tough time rowing their boat in that game.
Minnesota had been ready for years.
Exactly. Oh, that's beautiful.
But I think I really believe we got a lot of help around him. I think Chase Winovich coming back for a 5th year is huge.
Yep.
From a leadership standpoint. Also, he's a spark plug back there.
Right.
And we have 2 excellent young defensive tackles in Aubrey Solomon and Michael Dwumfor.
Yep.
We're going to play very well this year.
Yep.
And also, I'm hearing a lot about Aiden Hutchinson, the young freshman out of Plymouth, Michigan, legacy kid.
Yep.
I think he's going to get some. I think him and Carlo Kemp are going to get better. Our linebacking core is deep.
And fast.
Yes, and fast. Like
Very
with
fast.
Josh Uche.
Yep.
We have all the 3 linebackers we're going to have out there are guys that can run probably 4.6 and higher.
Don,
Right.
do you realize Ohio State is returning all of their wide receivers?
Do you realize that Michigan is returning all of their defensive backs?
Do you understand these receivers returned just because they wanted to play with Dwayne Haskins because they know the kind of numbers that they're going to be able to put up with a guy who's an arm talent like Dwayne Haskins, and these guys are no slouches. This isn't just Austin Mack and Johnny Dixon. And you got Ben. These are monsters. These guys
when
are
we
all
come down
amazing.
here in November, we're going to anticipate getting the Ohio State secondary that lined up against Oklahoma and Baker Mayfield last year because they're going to watch a lot of film, and that's all Shea Patterson's going to do now. Now, I know Jim hadn't named him the starter, but he's the starter, make no mistake.
We got new guys, though, and we didn't even get into our 2-headed monster at running back. I have not even brought up
I know.
J.K. and Mike Webber. I'm just – We'll just take for granted that we have the 2 best running backs in the Big Ten just hanging out. No big deal.
My biggest question, obviously, I think the Ohio State offense is going to be well endowed, but I think the thing that nobody's really talking about is who's going to take over at center for the best center in the Big Ten Conference from last year.
Yeah, that's something that we're looking at right now.
Right.
We've considered sliding our guard down in there a couple times.
Right.
And I think that might be a good move just because he's got such good size.
Right.
The offensive line for us always takes about 4 or 5 weeks to get into a rhythm. And it's a good thing we play you guys late November because those first few
the
weeks,
bottom line
our O-line's not what it needs to be
next
yet.
to quarterback, center is the toughest position to learn. Next to
quarterback. I would agree because it's the dynamic of having to snap the ball and get your hands ready to play and have to deal with usually the apex of the defense and blitzes and setting the front to the linebacker. There's a lot that goes into that. That's a very cerebral position. So you want to have a guy that can not only, is athletic enough to pull if he needs to and make, different movements, but also needs to be a sharp guy. Right. I mean, Billy Price is going to be probably our biggest loss.
Yeah, I agree with that. I mean, that was unequivocal to me, losing a guy like that.
Correct.
He's
big time.
He's going to be a great player for the Cincinnati Bengals.
Yeah.
He really is. I think he's going to have a great pro career when it's all said
and sidebar, I called this a year ago. I said, man, everybody was like, JT Barrett's going to have no chance in the pros. And I said, You know what? I said he'll have a chance if he gets taken by this one team. I said I played my last professional season with the New Orleans Saints.
Well done, Jay.
And I said if he can get into that room, I said even if he goes free agent,
right?
Preferred whatever. If he can get into that room with Drew,
right.
I said Sean Payton, will take a cerebral guy over a super tall, prototypical guy any day of the week. I said, and he reminds me so much of Drew.
Well,
hanging out with JT one-on-one, same
personality traits.
Correct. They're wired very similar.
They're wired very similar.
So when they picked him up, I said,
it's very interesting.
He's going to make that team.
It's very interesting that you mentioned that.
He's going to make that team.
Because I think he will. Because if they're going to keep 3 quarterbacks, he will make the team.
I think so, too.
And here's the thing. They want athletic guys that know how to move around the pocket. And JT knows how to do that.
Absolutely.
The only issue with JT is getting him to a point where his poise can be developed.
I agree.
So he doesn't have to, my biggest question on JT was his poise to make decisions within the pocket and to throw with accuracy.
I would agree with that.
But if there's a system that he could learn that, New Orleans is the perfect place
for him.
It's Sean
Payton.
I agree.
That's the guy that can help him.
And the funny thing is, he's about an inch taller than Drew.
He is.
Drew Brees.
Did you see him hanging out together?
Yeah.
I mean, JT looks
well,
a little
it's funny because I've seen JT in person. I've shaken his hand, and I measured Drew when he came out for the draft. He was 6 foot even. 6 foot even on the dot.
Yeah.
And so JT's just a little bit taller, and so it's
he's a little thicker.
Yeah.
And they're both athletic. Drew's a surgeon in the pocket, man. I mean, he's special.
The thing about Drew is the way he can anticipate and throw with accuracy and timing. He's arguably the best in the NFC. Anyway, go ahead, Don.
I'm saying he's second to none. Drew Brees is. I think
next to Tom.
I thought, and Jay, I thought the same thing with Drew Brees.
Yeah.
In regards to, with JT when he got picked up by New Orleans. I mean, JT, he's got moxie, he's got savvy. Yeah, I think he needs to work on his delivery. He needs to work on his accuracy.
Yeah.
And I think that's the right system. He's the right person to feed off of. So I think JT will do well.
Right.
Yeah, I think
and he's called upon. Who knows? I mean, anything could happen.
I think JT's accuracy moving forward will be a product of that system that he's in. I think it'll improve because he's in a system that'll kind of help him flourish, but also get him comfortable with how to be accurate in the NFL because the windows are different and the angles are different.
No doubt.
I think he's got the right mentor. I think half of being a great quarterback, heck, being a great player in the NFL is who's playing with you. When you get there, who's in front of you. I got lucky. I had a guy named Warren Sapp when I was a rookie, and I got to watch a Pro Bowler, Hall of Famer go at it every day, and it helped me in my game day preparation and how you go about your business. A lot of guys come in and they don't have any sort of mentors to watch. So JT's got the perfect one. I got a question for you two Michigan guys, though.
And then we got to wrap the show up after that. Go.
And then we'll wrap real quick. We all know Harbaugh's a nut, right? Kind of a strange nut. There was that story floating around about he doesn't want his guys eating chicken because it's a nervous bird and all of that weird stuff.
I could not play for him, no.
Yeah, that's strange. Is half of what Jim Harbaugh does, Shem and Don, is this all shock value? Is he just being funny? Is this all to attract attention to the university? Is this all to be on SportsCenter?
No.
Or is he legitimately a little bit certified?
No, and so Jim's different, okay?
Well, that's without saying.
But here's the thing with Jim, and if there's one thing you learned from my dad, all right, is you have to have your own personality. You have to be yourself, okay? If you're not authentic,
he's himself.
If you're not authentic in who you are, then you're gonna have a tough time leading a program, all right?
Agreed.
So Jim's very down to earth, okay? He's very down to earth. And the thing that I love about Jim is that he learned a hard lesson, all right, based on last year, okay? But the key is he's got arguably the best coaching staff in all of college football this year. When you bring in an Ed Warner and you have a Don Brown, you have a coaching staff that mixes veterans with youth. So Sharon Moore and those guys that have come here and they're now recruiting the Midwest and Ohio.
I mean, I'll give you that. He's got some good coaches.
So you can say whatever you want about Jim and his personality. It's about the team.
Sure. But at the end of the day, he's the guy, and I mean,
people used to say my dad was insane, and people used to say that Woody was insane.
Woody was insane.
So there you go.
I met your dad, and I thought he was a very sweet man, and was really kind to me. So I can't.
But you met him after he retired.
Yeah, I didn't know him during the Woody era. You're right.
It's a different guy. You got to understand, the guy that showed up in
right.
January of '69 before the season started,
yeah.
And within a 4-month period of time, you had a roster of 140. It gets down to 58 by the time he was done. And
he had calmed down when I ran across him.
Yeah, you did, because he's retired. And the funny thing was, when guys started leaving, and that's when he came up with his sign, to put the sign up there, "Those who stay will be champions," is because they couldn't take it. They couldn't take it, man.
That's true.
All right. That's going to wrap up our show. Don Thomas, thanks for Skyping in, buddy.
Big Don.
We're going to be back. We'll be back next Thursday. And remember, everybody, next Friday, next Thursday, we're going to move the show to Thursday nights. We're going to be up at the Brown Jug in Ann Arbor, Michigan. And we're looking forward to being there. That's going to be exciting, because then we can kick the season off and get ready to beat the Golden Domers of Notre Dame and kick the season off right. And then
that's a big opening game.
Ohio State has their scrimmage against Oregon State. So we'll look
forward
to that.
Hey, listen, Oregon State has a very good defense. They have a solid group of guys.
We'll talk about it next week.
And they're a little bit better than you think they are. That should be a nice warm-up.
Well, yeah, exactly, warm-up, 28-point game. Hey, thanks for joining in, everybody. The Rivalry Classic Football Show. We'll see you next week. Go Blue.
Go Bucks.